There was a time where people were like arguing over the basis of math. If you could have stuff that weren't integers and odd. There's another thing with the whole infinity. People didn't believe infinity was a number and wasn't part of math, and people tried to not do anything with infinity and like stuff like that.
But then what do you do with infinity? What is it for you? Because I just know it's that logo like that I can eat. Yeah. Oh, the full blackboard with the chalk is coming in your head right now.
Infinity is a fun concept. I had to do an essay on it or something.
You had to do an essay on infinity.
I used to really like the concept of infinity. Okay, here's like a fun little paradox. There's better ways to explain it, but I can try to just explain it with what I have in my head now.
And with simple English.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know the numbers between 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to as high as you can count. There's an infinite number of them, right?
Yeah.
And then we can also, so all the positive numbers.
Yeah.
But now we can take all the positive numbers.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah.
We can also include all the negative numbers.
Okay.
So, -1, -2, -3, -4, all the way down to negative infinity that way. So if we take the positive and the negative numbers combined, do you think there's more of those than just the positive numbers?
It should be equal, right?
Yeah, it's equal.
Yeah.
Because we can pair off one.
With minus.
And yeah. And then you can even do the same with like fractions. So any single number that you can represent as a fraction. So there's already an infinite number of them between a 0 and 1.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can go 1/1, 1/2,
Yeah.
1/3, 1/4, 1/... an infinite number
Yeah.
of times. But you can actually pair off every single fraction with every single number from 1 to infinity.
Yeah.
So even though there's an infinite numbers between 0 and 1,
Mm-hmm.
there's as many fractions in the world, if you include all of them, as there are numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on.
Okay.
Because there's a way that you can say, okay, 1 is equal to this fraction, 2 is equal to this fraction, 3 is equal to this fraction. And you can set it up algorithmically that covers every single fraction by using that natural numbers.
Okay. So, I got your point. But where is the infinity? Oh, because you can do this infinite times.
So we would call that like one level of infinity. So those would be considered like, so that's a set of an infinite amount of numbers.
So there are different levels of infinite.
So then if you look at the irrational numbers, like pi and all that stuff, there's no way to pair off the natural numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, with all the irrational numbers. So so the irrational numbers are like an infinitely larger group than the rational numbers. So they would be, so there's some people, like there's some areas in math where they would call that a different level of infinity. So you can even have different levels of infinity.
Okay.
Based on the ability of matching different stuff, of being able to like, of the size of the sets, if that somehow makes sense.
So what about pi? Because that doesn't have a...
That's an irrational number.
Irrational number, but you would also call that an infinite number?
So pi is just considered, it's part of the set of irrational numbers, which is the set of like that.
Okay, it's part of it.
It's never, because it's never ending and it's not representable as a fraction. So those numbers are called irrational numbers. So stuff like pi, stuff like e, just if you talked forever, 1.38, and just went on for the end of time, without any rhyme or reason, that would be considered an irrational number. Oh. So that's a second level of infinity. And then there's a question in math that's never been answered. But this gets trippy. And it's, is there a level of infinity in between those two? So you have the natural numbers and you have the irrational numbers. Is there something that's in between that?
Okay. Oh my! Wait, what is your PhD on? You're doing PhD in maths, but not in this.
Not in this.
Yeah, not in infinity.
Stuff I know from my undergrad or like
Oh my god.
But anyways, it was a weird thing that somebody proved that you couldn't show that there existed another number between these two infinities, And somebody also proved that it's impossible to show that there is a number in between these two infinities, or there is a level of infinity in between it. So it pretty much showed that it's impossible for us to know or to prove that there is like a different level of infinity between these two.
Oh.
Which is trippy. That's what
trippy
and fun.
Wow.